the COVID, we always been home, and for me, this room has been my office. I put the Serbian and the European flag behind me. I have a nice banners with our logo, European Union, za tebe, EU za tebe, and I spent here 10 weeks. And from this room, from this table, I signed a contract, I made press interviews, I work with my team every day. So this has been my home and my office for more than 2 months.
You didn't leave the house, in fact.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't. I went outside in the garden sometimes, and I have my Garmin watch. I have to do 15,000 steps a day. And basically I'm going back and forth in the house to make the right length, and it's been a long 10 weeks, but good right now that it's over, and we will be back outside, but always with prudence and wisdom.
We hope it's behind us. U istoj ovoj sobi ovde u kući gospodina ambasadora Evropske unije, gospodina Sema Fabricija, bila sam pre 2,5 godine. On je upravo tada i došao u zemlju. I just said that this is second time in this room I am with you doing the interview. You just came in when I did talk to you.
It's true.
Really, it's true.
It was 2 years ago that we had this interview that and then introduced me to the larger audience here in Serbia.
And I recall that you have been appearing here and there, but the people, they wanted to know who you are, you know. And I was trying always to show you, if it's possible with a diplomat, probably on a high position, to show his inside, to show who the person is. And now I am again here. Good. And tell me, how was your corona isolation? Where have you been? I heard that you hardly left the house.
It's true. It's been a long period where I stay most of the time at home and here, and I learned how to telework. So it's been an interesting, difficult as everyone, I understand. I was useful, but I think it was useful also to stay, to respect the rules, to avoid spreading or getting the virus. And we were very, very disciplined and home, myself and my family, my kids, we all been there. But I also had to work because there was the medical assistance. So I went a few times to the airport to welcome a plane that was coming and some activities, but I tried to limit as much as possible the activity. And on the weekend, when there was the lockdown, I disciplined stay home together with the family.
Me honestly, have you been scared? Because we are dealing with something we don't know. We do not have that experience, honestly. Have you been scared?
But certainly, scared maybe not, but certainly concerned that you can get the virus. Someone of your family can get the virus, and you don't know how to react. And of course, I was also watching closely the TV news in not only in Serbia but also my hometown, my Italy. Situation were very difficult there. Also, my wife is British, and also, as you know, in the UK, the situation hasn't gone very, very well as well. But I think I understood that this stay home, be prudent, protect yourself was a very effective way to prevent. So that's why we've been quite disciplined and I would say not scared but concerned, certainly, yes.
Your family, I think your father or Your mother, they have been, I think, in Milan or somewhere.
Yes.
Imagine all those news,
Yeah.
and your closest are there,
Yeah.
and you are here. You cannot do nothing. What can you do?
Yeah, but it's funny. It's my mom, who is 92 years old, and she lives in Rome, but she went to Milan to stay with my family, and she always say, "Here in Milan, everything is fine. What about you in Serbia?" And I said, "No, you should say the opposite." And but she's always been a great source of support and encouragement, and I think she also discovered the Zoom, the video call, and we made with my kids a great phone call with my mom in Milan.
The thing is that everybody who sees you and everybody who talks to you, you know, they talk to you, they are asking things, but somehow always at the end the question is coming. And I recall that last time when I was here, I was telling you my age, and
When Serbia will be part of the EU? This is the question.
how do you know?
I know, because you said everybody asked me. the
So
same
this
question.
is the question?
Yeah.
No, okay. My question
Your
is
question.
something with it, yeah. My question is, are we a country who is supposed to wait for others to get into the European Union with the group, or we are the country which is performing by itself, alone? I was confused. I was confused. Are we going to get in and we have to wait for this country, so everybody together to come in to the European Union, or we are acting by ourselves? This is my question.
Your question is I can reply simply. Serbia is moving towards the European Union on its own.
But we have to wait for somebody?
No, you are not waiting for anybody else. But of course, we want the European Union to make this offer to enlarge the European Union to all the players into the region. And you saw that in March, in the middle of this COVID, finally, after so many years, North Macedonia and Albania has opened the negotiation with the European. So right now, not only there's Serbia and Montenegro, also there's North Macedonia and Albania. So the whole Western Balkan region is moving to the European Union, but of course the negotiations are done individual, country by country.
Does it mean that we can get in and the others are not, or somebody from those countries can get in and we are not?
No, there's no any link
No?
there's no any link. Every country will move toward the European on its own merit, on its own condition, but the offer from the European Union is open to everyone. And when the country will be ready, one country will enter, the other will not be ready. They will have to work more to be ready. But there's no any sequencing between one and the other one. No. It's a political commitment by the European Union already made 20 years ago. It has been the European perspective for all the Western Balkans. You saw in 2004 Slovenia joined, in 2013 Croatia joined. So next in lines are those who have opened already a negotiation, so Serbia and Montenegro. So the perspective of the EU is open to the whole Western Balkans, and each of the countries depends on its own reform condition will join the European Union. But of course, we also see that the region is so connected. You cannot speak to only one without speaking of the other one. When we make a plan, right now we have made this plan for health assistance. We didn't do only for one country. We said everyone who need the help, we will be willing to do.
Do you think that I should be more optimistic?
You are an optimistic
I
person.
am. That's why I'm
Yes,
here.
I see.
You know, like I'm here to persuade you all the time. You know,
To become more optimistic myself, no?
You think so?
No, I think optimism is a very powerful element in our life. But in optimism, I will always add an element of realism, because sometimes you risk have to be optimist, and after you create expectation, and after people get disillusioned because why I was optimistic right now things are not happening, I became
I would
disillusioned.
say maybe we are impatient, or maybe, many times this part of the world was disillusioned. You know what I mean? Our past
Sure.
is somehow the past where somehow we always feel that we are not treated completely well, or understood, or misunderstood, or not speaking maybe the language of the world. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
a kind
understand.
of a. Do you have a feeling sometimes when you're talking with some important people that maybe you don't understand each other, or there is some kind of a misunderstanding? Because you are meeting the people, not me.
But you meet the people as well. No,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I think,
interviewing them.
Yes, but I think it's true that the history of this region hasn't been an easy past. This is, I think, it's fair to say. At the same time, I wonder whether if this a reading of the past has brought some lesson also for the future, and people will say, okay, you can learn from your past to not make the same mistakes, you change your attitude, you be more optimistic. But I think certainly a common effort, if you want to say so, to be fully European, to talk European. It's to plan as an European would be certainly an element that help the country.
For example, when you choose you haven't definitely influenced what you are going to do for the country and what not. What are the focus where you are going to help? For example, the donations are very high. You are trying to implement some European way of handling things, etc. Do you think that the people, they know what are you exactly doing? Because maybe you're doing so many different things that the people, they cannot focus on everything. So I focus myself on hospitals, because maybe this is a part of my job that I'm always turned toward this human being interest, basic human being interest.
I'm always honest with you. Yes, you made three questions. The first one is that yes, we do a lot of things because it's not an. We have at the moment we have 700 projects ongoing in Serbia at the same time. So from building in a court, a justice palace, we are building a justice palace in Novi Sad, to building a depurator for water in the south of Serbia, training students, training judges. We are doing a lot of things. So in the sense is necessary for me, especially in my position, really to be on the top of all these projects. So there's a lot of things we do. If the people realize, I hope so, that the people realize how much we are working, and they don't take also our work for granted. They said, oh, of course, the US to do something, in the sense it's like we are taking for granted. I think it will be useful also the people will fix their mind and say, this is good, or why it's been done, or things is important. It's not just a question of somebody have to tell me thank you. It's not I'm looking for a thank you. But
You
at
don't
least,
look for thank you?
No, I would like to say we are here to help, and I would like to people to recognize the help that they given by the European Union. We have been in the past 20 years, we granted, when I say grant, it's donation, more than 3 billion euros. It's an enormous amount.
And you don't expect thank you.
No, we also expect thank you, but I mean,
You
I'm
can't
not...
say that it's not a pleasant thing if somebody says thank you.
No, but I mean, in the sense we see much more in the spirit of cooperation, that we think things together, because the project we do is not just done by us. We do with the Serbian authorities, with Serbian NGOs, with a lot of people we work through to make things happen. So in that sense, it's more a work on partnership. And if you say the hospital, yes, this is an area where we have been particularly active until a few years ago, and I'm very happy that still some of the projects we have organized, I can see. For example, I was in Vranje in September, October last year, because it's the new emergency, ER, so the emergency response, pronto soccorso. So basically, the first aid we built there is fantastic, with the 6 surgical rooms, very top. And they showed me which was the old emergency ward, which was something built in the 60s. And you see something built with the EU in 2020. So you see the future and you see the past. This one certainly makes me feel proud of what we do. I plan sometimes to come back. What I do sometimes is, rather than just coming back, I go to open something new, but also look at what we have already opened in the past. And it's also usually right now there is, not today, but usually there's nice weather. Between March and July, I always travel a lot in the country to see projects. Because of the COVID, I haven't been outside Belgrade in the past 3 months. We made an important contribution. I would say one of the best, or probably the best, is the Torlak Institute, which is a top-notch institute, also very active for fight against COVID. And as soon as I can, I will go and visit again.
Tell me, everybody's talking about vaccines. Do you have any results of certain researches? Because everybody's trying to find out the vaccines. Probably you have some information. What do you think? How it's going to develop?
Well, I think a vaccine is certainly the new frontier, and will be the definitive response to COVID-19. When we will have the vaccine, we can say really that we have defeated COVID. At the moment, nowhere in the world exists a vaccine. A lot of institute laboratories are working. What the European Union did on the 5th of May, hosted a pledging conference, which means everybody who has the money put the money for creating vaccine, and we raise a very high number of, I think it's the aid today is 9.2 billion euro for the vaccine. It's an enormous amount of money. Serbia contributed as well with 2 million euro. And our idea is that we need to find, first, test. We need to have a scale up the tests. The tests should be accurate and should be cheap. Second one, we need to find drugs for treating the disease, for those who have the disease. And third one is the vaccine. This is the 3 areas where we have to work. And rather than everybody working on its own, we put all this money together and say there's a group of, I think, 10 or 12 world laboratories around the world that will receive these funds to work, with the idea that basically whoever finds the vaccine will, in a spirit of solidarity, give the vaccines to the others. So we don't want the vaccine to be, is mine and I keep it for me or for my people. This is the spirit of solidarity. We just started, but I think we started with the right foot, because we put the money. The European Union is in the lead of working with WHO, with a number of laboratories to scale up. to make it fast and to make available to all as soon as it's found. Of course, finding vaccine is not easy, but I think the best mind of the world are working on that. We hope that in a not too distant future, we will have a vaccine which will be available for all.
And how are things with the tests? Can you help with the tests? Because they are different tests, you know.
I know.
It's the question of the quality of the tests. Have you been helping with the tests?
Exactly. As I said, I mean, our fund will work on the tests, on the medicine, on the vaccine. The test should be accurate, it should be cheap. For the time being, there was, as we at the beginning of this crisis, there was a few tests, very expensive and located only in some parts of the world. Some were producing and some was like, it's like when you need something, you go to the pharmacy. If you need, you go to the pharmacy. But if everybody needs at the same time the test, one pharmacy cannot supply everyone. So right now the question is how to increase the supply, how to increase the accuracy of the test, and how to reduce the price. So part of our effort at the moment is to increase these three elements on the test, especially that we might expect that maybe in autumn, when there might be a second wave, there will be again another high request of tests, and we are working for this through in Europe, in Asia, in the US, all over the world with the spirit.
Do you expect the second wave? They are talking about, but do you?
Well, I really am not an expert, but what the people...
What they tell you, do they prepare you?
What they tell me, I think nobody tell me something in particular to me that I don't even say to others. But what he said is that basically this virus might be probably never leave us. So right now it's not the virus has gone somewhere. It might be, someone says that it's losing its own effect in the moment. Usually influenza always come in the winter season. So the people, why do they expect the second wave in autumn when the school will reopen and so on and so forth. But I also say, I always listen to the people that if they come back in autumn, let's say, we will be much more prepared because we know what it will be about, the medicine, the test, the system, the tracking. We will be in a much better position. But I will not think that these things has been something that will disappear soon.
Did you take a test of COVID-19?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't, no, I did not.
Did you ever took a vaccine for grippe?
Sure, every year.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. I think it's... And this year was particularly helpful because one of the questions of the flu at the beginning was that, is it normal flu or is it COVID? Certainly if you are vaccinated against the flu, you can realize that if the symptom comes, it's much more clearly close to COVID. So I did, with my family, we do the test, the vaccine every year, and this year has been particularly useful. But certainly, I think something that everybody should do usually to avoid the flu, to transmit flu to the others, to stay home, and certainly it's I would recommend. But certainly, as a person, certainly I'm not an expert.
I want to ask you something. You're an ambassador of European Union here in Serbia. Many people are coming to you, asking, to protect them, to talk for them, to ask your advice and this and that. How can you judge, for example, when somebody comes to you and tells you something as an information? Can you trust? How can you check up, is the information right or wrong? For example, how do you do it? You.
Well, in the sense, I always, right now I'm in Serbia nearly 3 years, so I form my opinion. But certainly I rely on a lot of colleagues, my team, who advise me. When I receive a request, I ask for advice, what we call due diligence. What is about, who is this person, what is us, can we do something? Sometimes we just write back to the people, sorry, it's not my responsibility, nothing you can do, or something we can do. So in that sense, the advice is extremely important. After a while, you know the people, it becomes much easier to deal with.
Do they expect that you defend them? You know, they come and say, listen, I have this problem, this is what they do to me, I'm unhappy with this and that. What you do?
But well, I try I always see, I'm sympathetic with the people, so if there a problem, I try to understand the problem and where they came from. But from my point of view, I try to see if I can do something or not. In some cases I can, and in some others I cannot. In the sense that the European Union sometimes is called to be in an office of complaint. People say, this things doesn't happen, this court didn't take my appeal, why you should do something for me? And since I'm not a judge, I'm not my role, but we can, certainly advise to do something. So in that sense, I think there's a strong, let's say, it's also feeling of, or necessity, I would say. So the people would like to have more what we call rule of law in the country, more transparency, less corruption, more respect of law, and most of the time they come to us because they are dissatisfied to do something. What we say is that I cannot do something specific on this case, but certainly what we can do is certainly help Serbia to have a better legislation on rule of law, on transparency, anti-corruption, a better environment law. This is something we can do. And maybe on the single person, if someone in your neighborhood built an illegal building next to your building, something I cannot do. I can be sympathetic, but not something that I can intervene. Is not my role.
Do you think after 2.5 years that you are coping better? Do you think that you can understand better? Do you think that you adjusted better? What do you think?
Well, I think it's certainly I can cope better because it is I can understand better what is the general framework in which Serbia is and its relation with the EU. Certainly, it's easier for me to understand. Certainly, sometimes I became myself impatient. I would like to see more progress. I would like to see more Serbia closer to the EU. Sometimes, always as a human being, you may be more aware of things. At the same time, you can be more impatient.
You know something? I'm a little bit impatient.
Yes.
About my permanent question, as you know. But I think that you somehow understand things better. This is what I think. Am I right?
But you tell me. I don't know what is. But certainly, as I said, I think it's normal in a country where the diplomats arrive. You are always coming from abroad. You have to understand. You have to know people. You have to form your opinion. Sometimes you hear two people who told you exactly the opposite thing for different reasons, and you say, "Who is right?" And after a while, you find your opinion, and you say, my opinion is this one. I understand. I listen to both of you, but my feeling is this. So of course it takes a while to form your opinion. It's clear that after 3 years, my opinion is well formed on things I'm to dealing every day. But for example, this COVID-19 happened. Who could have happened? Who would have imagined?
You know something? You never know what is coming next in life, you know?
Yeah.
You can trace something, but you never know.
I agree with you. But I would say that this COVID-19 has been a difficult, but I would say paradoxically, a positive. Well, I don't know, maybe not positive, but I mean it's been an interesting experience for all of us. I think we have discovered a number of things. For example, that everyone was ready to telework. So we thought at the beginning, we said, how can I run 700 project, 200 million euro cooperation that we pump into Serbian economy every year teleworking. At the beginning, we were very concerned. But after we realized that our system, our IT infrastructure is well advanced, and right now my delegation work as effectively as we were in teleworking. So in some experience has been challenging, but I see it positive. And also at the end of the day, we said if we all stay home, how can the country can go forward? And after I saw, for example, that here there never been any problem with in the supermarket, or so everything was working in Serbia, notwithstanding the COVID. So in that sense, it's been also a good test also for Serbia to show its own resilience. The system has worked. So in that sense, this crisis, difficult as it has been, but also revealed also some positive element for me, for Serbia. From a human point of view, I've been here at home with my kids, not going to school and teleschooling, and it's been also a very nice experience to stay home all together, where usually you spend much more time at the office than at home.
Do you know what I learned?
Yes.
It's maybe idealistic a little bit. In one moment, I had the feeling that maybe we are all equal. You know what I mean? With this fear and this waiting that everything has to come to an end, you know? This basic feeling that we are, in fact, all the same. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much. Thank you
Been a
very
pleasure.
much.